All right, the next example here I'm going to kind of go into is basically kind of a branding and awareness campaign. This is maybe a customer who's less, lead or basically sale type oriented. They're just trying to get their name out there in the marketplace. So they tend to really break their stack down, the tactics down a lot more. So in this example, we're kind of really breaking out. The top three, we're really going into PPC, SEO, social, online PR really makes a big leap here. And then, things like reputation management, social monitoring, viral, contests, those things really start to come into play. And like I said, if you're running a contest, maybe we have a $10,000 sweepstakes going. Well, obviously we're going to use a lot of these other channels, to help us boost this contest out there in the marketplace. So we get a lot more press, a lot more buzz. That we're able to pull together when we're running all these channels in conjunction with each other. Maybe the last one we're looking at, maybe we're doing B2B or something like that, where we provide service nationally, or at least for a good portion of the country. So these types of customers really organic search because we don't have to geo-target, we don't have to add the Harrisburg links or those types of terms onto the keywords that we're going after. And the links means just with link building. Which kind of strikes as an SEO campaign. They tend to do some pay-per-click, email, videos, and blogging, and some social. It tends to be, a bit of maybe an average stack or something like that. So, every industry is different, and I think you have to examine really where your business is at, where some of the competition's at, where you really want to go, and then this helps to kind of bring in these different allocations. The other thing that's important here, so let's say this was our e-commerce example. Basically we've kind of allocated our budget for the year. And I think what's important too is that things need to be set up on basically like a flight schedule. So let's say in August, we want to do X, Y, and Z. September we're going to do these other kinds of things, and then setting up some actual performance and data and numbers that we want to hit. So if we're doing and this just makes sense. I mean, if we're doing a website redesign in 6 months, we maybe don't want to do our conversion analysis in month 1. I mean, it'd be nice to have that data, but I think it would be better to do that in month 7 or 8 and actually be able to get a little bit more benefit from that. So, basically, maybe we're running, in the next example, let's say we're running a contest or a sweepstakes. The idea would be is, at the month or the month before that prize is actually awarded, we're probably going to be, we're going to be firing on all cylinders on pretty much across the board with all our different tactics. So we're hitting all these channels to help us maybe promote a product launch, or whether this is basically a contest or sweepstakes, those kinds of things that we're running. So it's important to basically do this stuff out from a timeline standpoint and actually build in a lot of cases maybe a 1-year strategy, but it can obviously go a lot longer or shorter. The next one I would say is, the other thing is as you're building this, I think there's something to be said for building a strategy and sticking to that strategy. But I think it's important too, if you have something, especially if you're really focused on, let's say, e-commerce checkouts or actually, leads, those kinds of things, is, if you're seeing something that's working and maybe you're doing weekly reviews or daily reviews or monthly reviews, it depends on how much business you're doing online. The other thing is, let's say in this example, organic search is just absolutely blowing up. We're putting 20% of our budget in, but it's ultimately resulting in 60% of our sales. I would say don't be afraid to wait till the end of the year to maybe reallocate that pie. So some of these other channels maybe shrinking that share of the pie down, and then the slice that's organic search, expanding that a little bit. Last point here, shameless plug for ourselves. We're basically by the food. We have our booth back there, and we have our own. We wrote our own search engine, and we kind of have a scaled down version that'll give you basically conduct a website scorecard and kind of grade your website from a search engine optimization standpoint. So we can either print that off of your printer, or we can email that to you. So if anybody would like to get their free report, you can actually go to this website address after this. But we're also set up in one of the booths. And also, again, I think JPI is going to have the slides available for download, but there they are again in multiple formats, including the mobile version. So I think I have maybe 5 minutes for questions here. Right. 2 or 3? All right.
Could you read off that URL? We can't see it at all back here before we get the slides. The slide URL.
Sure, yeah. So it's going to be, basically it's WebpageFX.com. And then it's going to be a front slash, and then it's PEPT in caps, and then a front slash. So WebpageFX.com, and then it's front slash and capital PPT front slash, and that'll take you into a page. And there's a couple of different formats: a mobile version, it's out on SlideShare.net, and some other couple other formats.
Could you tell me a little bit more about
Sure, absolutely. Well, and I think this is another one. I'll just maybe speak at maybe a macro level. I would say a good bounce rate, but every industry is different, every site's different, is the thing to keep in mind. But maybe I would say an average bounce rate is maybe high 30s, I would say, is probably about right across all customers. So, you know, if you're under that number, I would consider that pretty good. If you're over that number, you know, maybe there's some things that you can take a look at and start drilling into this data a little bit more and doing some segmentation and figuring out, you know, where are some drop-off points. And if you do have that, I mean, sometimes that's really good because you can find those spots and you can improve them and ultimately come up with a much better website and better mousetrap at the end of the day. So that's probably my 2 minutes, and I'll hand it off to Larry. And thank you for everybody's time here today.